Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, Eddie Hearn has confirmed he has spoken to Dillian Whyte and he said that we would accept that Tyson Fury fight. This is what he had to say. Just to confirm, I've spoken to Dillian, we would accept that Tyson Fury fight. Obviously, we'd have to talk about numbers, not looking to be greedy, but Whyte would love to have that fight with Fury on December 5th, so if there's an opportunity to do that, we'd love to do that. So there we go, Eddie Hearn is happy for Dillian Whyte to take that fight with Tyson Fury, and more importantly, Dillian Whyte is also. Now, I think that works brilliantly, to be honest. I mean, Dillian Whyte is now without an opponent because obviously Alexander Povetkin tested positive for COVID, so there is a target date of January 30 to get that fight back on. But in the meantime, Tyson Fury is also without an opponent, so it kind of works quite well. Tyson Fury is also looking to come back to the UK and fight on December 5th, so that does work well for Dillian Whyte. It is short notice, but it's short notice for both of them, and at the moment, when can they guarantee they'll get a fight on like this? Because Dillian Whyte has waited an extremely long time for his opportunity, so he does deserve it, and I know he lost his last fight, but at the end of the day, he's a better opponent than any Tyson Fury can get at the moment, and if Tyson Fury wants to make a statement, then who better to do that against than Dillian Whyte? Now, there was a contract sent out to Ajit Kabayel for December 5th for Tyson Fury, so provided things go well with that, I would imagine Tyson Fury is going to be fighting Kabayel and will not entertain a fight with Dillian Whyte at this stage, which is disappointing considering it's a brilliant opportunity to make this fight a fight we would all be extremely excited for, and a fight that does warrant a pay-per-view event, where Tyson Fury versus Kabayel, you would kind of have to question that. I know it's Tyson Fury, WBC World Champion, but still, it's about the fights, and on that bill on the undercard, there is Lyndon Arthur and Anthony Yarde, so that does make it a good fight card. But Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte is a much better fight and makes it a pay-per-view fight, more so than Tyson Fury versus Ajit Kabayel. Plus, it is a fight that we have been waiting to see. Obviously, the fight we do want to see is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, and that will likely happen next year. There was always going to be this thing, when can Dillian Whyte fight Tyson Fury, because he must fight for the WBC World Championship, but that hinged on him beating Alexander Povetkin on November 21st. That fight no longer will go ahead, but you gotta think that even though Dillian Whyte is coming off of a loss, does he not deserve a bit of a break? Because he has continuously done what the WBC have asked of him, and yet he still hasn't secured a world title opportunity. Now he could do that, and there is a big break that Dillian Whyte is well deserved of, and this would be that. So it is short notice, but both fighters would be in the same boat. Both fighters are training for a similar kind of date. November 21st for Dillian Whyte, so he was training to peak on that night. Tyson Fury was training to peak on December 5th. It's not that far away, so that would kind of make sense for those fighters. Now, interestingly enough, Derek Chisora, who recently has just had a unanimous decision loss to Alexander Usyk, has put himself forward for that November 21st date against Dillian Whyte. He said he's happy, he's ready to go, his hands are good, no bruises, he's perfectly fit, ready for that fight on November 21st. The trilogy with Dillian Whyte, that would be interesting. Quick turnaround, yes, for Derek Chisora, but he did not sustain a huge amount of damage in that fight with Alexander Usyk, and he believes he's ready to turn it around and go in just over 2 weeks' time. David Haye has also gone onto the phone and spoken to Eddie Hearn saying that they are ready for that date. They even done an Instagram live where they were talking, going back and forth about making that fight. So that is a possibility for Dillian Whyte. The one we would rather see is a Dillian Whyte Tyson Fury if they could do that, but that doesn't seem so likely considering a contract has already been sent out to Kabayel. So that one is less likely, but Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora could be a possibility for November 21st. Not a huge possibility, I would rather them scrap November 21st for Dillian Whyte and then let Dillian Whyte try and get this Tyson Fury fight. I mean, it's not going to be easy, and I don't know whether they would take Derek Chisora at that late notice. I mean, it's a couple of weeks away, so whether Dillian Whyte goes in against Derek Chisora or someone else, a different opponent, maybe someone else that they can get, that is a possibility, but I think as fans, we would all rather than push towards a Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte fight. Again, Ajit Kabayel has been drafted in. There were talks of Carlos Takam as well, but that was before Dillian Whyte became available. So at the moment, there is going to be some sorting out as to whether Tyson Fury will be able to fight Dillian Whyte, and more importantly, whether he does want to. It definitely is interesting, and I don't think that they are going to get a much better opportunity than Dillian Whyte losing his opponent and Tyson Fury not having an opponent. So what better thing to do than throw them in there together? I know that boxing politics means that it's a lot more difficult than that, but I just wish it was a bit more simple, because obviously Dillian Whyte no longer has an opponent and neither does Tyson Fury, so it kind of makes sense, although there are things behind the scenes that make that fight more difficult to make. And you have to wonder about Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin. Say Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury did happen, say Dillian Whyte done the unthinkable and beat Tyson Fury. Does that then mean that Dillian Whyte must face Alexander Povetkin in his first defense of that title? Because, I mean, many things can happen, especially in the heavyweight division. So if Dillian Whyte were to get that opportunity, it would be the golden opportunity that he has been waiting for. And it comes after a loss to Povetkin, because he's fought back-to-back tough contenders to keep himself as number one in the WBC. He's done everything they have asked of him, but he stumbled at the final block. Now, would it not be interesting to see him get an opportunity at the WBC World title despite that? And it's not just about that. Dillian Whyte versus Tyson Fury is much better than Tyson Fury versus Ajit Caballero. It's much better than Tyson Fury versus Carlos Takam. It is. I mean, Dillian Whyte is now ranked number 5 by the WBC, so that works because Tyson Fury must fight someone within the top 15 of his WBC rankings. Whyte is number 5, so he is someone who can come in and fight Tyson Fury, even though he is just coming off of a loss, because Tyson Fury was going to be fighting Deontay Wilder until all of what happened ensued. So Wilder was going to get the opportunity after losing to Tyson Fury previously. So why not Dillian Whyte stepping in? Yes, he's lost to Alexander Povetkin in a WBC Interim World Championship fight, but he cannot fight Povetkin until likely the end of January. That is when they are targeting that fight to take place. So Dillian Whyte should have his opportunity at Tyson Fury, not necessarily because of the interim status, but because he is the best valid opponent for Tyson Fury, because Fury had opponents like Oscar Rivas, Michael Hunter, Caballero, Charles Martin, and F.A. Ajagba. Now, Dillian Whyte could be thrown into that mix. He's better than all of them and higher ranked, so that means that Dillian Whyte is the best and toughest opponent for Tyson Fury, and in my opinion, that is what Tyson Fury should be seeking out as a WBC World Champion, the toughest challenges. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.